We have an owner in Charlotte, North Carolina named Shalon Param. Shalon's originally from Iran and recently posted an extremely heartfelt video on TikTok just expressing her thoughts and really her passion for her country. And obviously she's addressing the violence and the persecution that's happening over there. So Shalon, I really appreciate your video. Love how you address you moved to America in 2007 seeking freedom of speech, freedom to wear what you want to wear without being persecuted, freedom to design your life and live it, any way you want. So, I really hope and pray that your country experiences the same kind of freedom that many of us take for granted here in the United States. So again, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your leadership. And thank you for your questions. You sent in some questions here regarding core leaders. So love the thought process on, hey, the key people in your business, the core leaders, how are you developing these people? So here's the questions. What information/content do you share with your core leaders on a daily basis? What questions are you asking? And how do you implement big picture in your conversation? So again, this is dedicated to the core leaders. All right, so I've got 3 thoughts here for you, Shalon. So here goes. Thought number 1, first things first, we need to define core leaders. And I don't think there's a one size fits all, like, hey, everybody in every office, here's the definition of a core leader. It's a little bit of supply and demand element going on. In other words, if I'm running an office with 30 reps in it versus I'm running an office with 6 reps in it, I'm going to have a different definition of a core leader. But I've always found, regardless of the size of business I have, there's really 2 elements that make up a core leader. One is they've got to be a pace setter. I mean, a core leader has to be a role model. You got to be an example. I want to tell everybody in the office, hey, Bob over here, do what Bob's doing. Bob's doing a great job. Consistent, and there's a certain level of productivity, production, being on time, dressing the part. So again, you got to be a pace setter. Define that. Put that as black and white as you can. Like, hey, core leaders, here's the definition of being a pace setter. And the second thing, you got to be in charge of a team. As John Maxwell says, if you're not leading anybody, you're just walking. Right? So you can't just go for a walk every day. You've got to be in charge of a certain team. Generally speaking, over the years, I've always looked at a core leader like you've got to have at least 2 first-generation leaders on your team. And so again, you're setting the pace. You're in charge of a team of 2+ leaders. Great, you're a core leader. Okay, so that's the first thing, is let's just define core leadership. Second thing is, this is my time to really get into the HR development, player-by-player development. It's a very transparent, intimate conversation that's happening on a daily basis. Again, just with the core leaders, and we're going through roll call. We're talking player by player. Now, there is a time and a place for other development. Obviously, every day in the office, I want to add just insane value to people and help them level up. In different workshops, I want to introduce them to, Ken Blanchard's, DISC assessment and situational leadership. I mean, crazy value adds there. Maxwell, Covey, Tony Robbins, the list goes on. So there's a time and a place to really educate my people. This core leaders meeting is not that time. It's really the time to do, again, the HR development. And so my goal with my core leaders is, hey, listen, you guys are the next owners coming up. Back to your big picture reference, like, what's the big picture conversation? Listen, the intent is, by the time you become an owner, there's nothing new for you. You're not going to be blindsided by anything. I want you to experience enough seasons, whether it's yourself experiencing it or other peers, other core leaders that are experiencing things. By the time you're an owner, you know exactly what the playbook needs to be at that time. You've seen it all. You've been there, done that. Okay, so when I say we're going through player by player, listen, we want to go through the production. We want to go through the daily trends, like, what's happening? This guy's trending up. This person's trending down. And what does each player need for their personal development? What are you doing as the coach for their personal development? What do they need? And this is where we can all, contribute. I want to treat them all like they're a board of directors. Like, hey, we're running a company here and you're a board member and we want you to add some value. We want you to contribute. What does each player need to level up? So again, it's a very transparent conversation. It's a very intimate conversation. And if anything's really personal, it doesn't have to be brought up there. Like, hey, Jamie, by the way, Bob's going through some personal matters. Okay, great. We'll take that one offline. We don't need to share that with everybody if it's extremely personal. But a lot of things just aren't. Like, hey, this guy, was on fire and now the guy's in a slump. Hey, what's happening? We're just talking player by player. We're introducing, again, the production. We're introducing the trends, and we're going through player by player. Again, the goal is nothing new when you become an owner, and you core leaders, you're expected to become owners in the business. All right, so that's that part. And then the third piece I have for you, again, if we're really treating them like a board member, well then as far as the weekly office planning goes, that's really point number 3 here, is, hey, listen, I want you to have a say. You've got a stake in this company here. I want you to have a say for next week. Again, we're planning the next week. Things like, okay, the relationship building, obviously in every office, culture is extremely important. So where's the relationship building taking place? What's the intent of this week's team night? Hey, Halloween's coming up and I found this fun haunted house we could take the team to. Or, hey, there's this new restaurant, I want to take the team there. But everybody's deciding together where team nights are, up and coming events, charitable events as well too, but we're all coming to the table, bringing our ideas on how we want this next week, how we want this next month to go. We also want to contribute with, hey, who should be the campaign manager? Like, who's on fire right now? Hey, this guy Craig, he's on fire. He's my guy. I want him to run the campaign. Hey, we all see Craig's doing a great job. Okay, great recommendation. What should the campaign meetings be on? Who should run the workshops? What should the workshops be on? So again, you're a board member and you are an architect. You're planning how the trajectory of this company is going to move forward this next week, this next month. So I think that's a really important, that only happens on a weekly basis, but I think that's a really important element of utilizing the core leaders, getting all the brains in the game for that weekly planning. So those are my thoughts on core leaders, really, what to share, how to share that, what that meeting looks like. Usually core leaders meetings, on a daily basis are somewhere between 15 to 30 minutes. 30 is kind of stretching it. I want to keep it a little bit shorter. And it's always the meeting before the meeting. The meeting before the meeting is always the most important meeting. I don't know if you know that, but the planning, the preparation before the leaders meetings, before the morning meeting and workshops, crucial time to really get the key development, key communication happening in the office. So I hope that helps, Shalon. I wish you all the best. Talk to you soon.